Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Giri Varadari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Giri Varadari Yashodan Vandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari. Okay, so we're Canto 10, beginning chapter 59. We've got verses 1 through 3 today. And so 1 is King Parikshit said, how was Balmasura, who kidnapped so many women, killed by the Supreme Lord? Please narrate this adventure of Lord Sharangadambas. The one who carries the bow is what that means, the Sharanga bow. And then 2 and 3 are Shukadev Goswami said, after Balma had stolen the earrings belonging to Indra's mother, along with Varuna's umbrella and the demigod's playground at the peak of Mandara mountain, Indra went to Lord Krishna and informed him of these misdeeds. The Lord, taking his wife Satyabhama with him, then rode on Garuda to Pragyotishapura, which was surrounded on all sides by fortifications consisting of hills, unmanned weapons, water, fire, and wind, and by obstructions of Murapasha wire. And, the purport says, the acharyas have explained in various plausible ways why Lord Krishna took his wife Satyabhama with him. Srila Sridhar Swami begins by saying that the Lord wanted to give his adventurous wife a novel experience and thus took her to the scene of this extraordinary battle. Also, Lord Krishna had once granted the blessing to Bhumi, the earth goddess, that he would not kill her demonic son without her permission. Since Bhumi is an expansion of Satyabhama, the latter could authorize Krishna to do the needful with the unusually nasty Balmasura. Finally, Satyabhama had been miffed when Narad Muni brought a celestial Parijata flower to Queen Rukmini. To pacify Satyabhama, Lord Krishna had promised her, I'll give you a whole tree of these flowers. And thus the Lord scheduled this procurement of a heavenly tree within his itinerary. Even nowadays, devoted husbands take their wives shopping, and thus Lord Krishna took Satyabhama to the heavenly planets to get a heavenly tree, as well as to retrieve the goods Balmasura had stolen and returned them to their rightful owners. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti notes that in the heat of battle, Queen Satyabhama would naturally become anxious for Lord Krishna's safety and pray for the battle to end. Thus, she would readily give permission to Krishna to kill the son of her expansion, Bhumi. I guess as people say in this case, right? Everybody else is playing checkers, and Krishna is playing chess. He's doing he has all these multiple things. He's all these different moving parts, and he's going to solve this equation. He has all these different promises and needs, and in one kind of simple way, he's going to work everything out. So the suras and the asuras, because the devas and the demons are allowed by Krishna. All mentalities are allowed by Krishna. He gives them opportunities. But there's a philosophical, a large-scale philosophical difference between the suras and the asuras. And Bishop Prabhupada says, the atheists and the godly people. It's maybe you can look at it even a bit more broadly than that. It's a kind of a vision. The reason why the asuras don't like Lord Vishnu, is because of course they want to be the most powerful, so that's a problem, and Vishnu's the most powerful, so they want to be on top. That's problem number one. But problem number two is the vision that Lord Vishnu and the devas have for the universe. Right? There's a notion that there's an interdependency and everybody has certain rights. Like in the, in the society, everybody has obligations to the society or the rest of the universe, and everybody has, and the universe and the beings who run it have obligations towards everyone. So there's a cooperative notion there in the Sura understanding. There's Krishna's on top, or the Lord Vishnu is on top, and everybody else cooperates according to the capacity, and they're cared for, you know. And so here, when the devas are having some trouble, the Lord is going to come in. And the Asuras say that this limits the potential of people who have greater power and skills. They don't want to have the limitations where everybody's welfare has to be considered. Right? They want absolute power, because that's the situation in the world. We feel that people feel that happiness comes from greater control and power, and the more the better. And so if there's lesser beings, why should they have to be taken care of? Why should that limit one's freedom and power? So there's a philosophical difference there. So here, usually when Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu steps in, commonly it's because they're trying to they have their special place, the lower planetary systems, the Bilos, because the subterranean heavenly planets is where they hang out. And it's when but they always have ambitions, to take over the planets of the Devas, and then ultimately to unseat Lord Vishnu from his supreme position. So generally, when they're causing too much trouble, especially for the Devas, or coming into the part of the universe that's firmly under the control of the Suras, that's when Lord Vishnu intervenes. So here we have that problem, that this Balmasura is so powerful. He's stealing things from the Devas, and so Lord Krishna in this case, the source of Lord Vishnu, is coming to intervene. And so he's got all these things, though, because he's got his wife Satyabhama. Rukmini was the principal queen, and so she actually had to give permission in order for Krishna to marry anybody else. And so she kind of has a special connection with Lord Krishna, and so Krishna gave her this parijata flower, and so Satyabhama felt a little bit slighted at one point. And so here Krishna is dealing with his obligations to the Devas by taking care of this Balmasura. He's actually considering Balmasura's welfare, right? When the demons get too far out of hand, it's just going to cause them, terrible karmic reactions in the future. So sometimes you're just terminating these people and resetting them, removing all their sinful activities is actually beneficial for them, right? And then he's thinking of his personal relationships with Satyabhama, and he's also thinking how he's going to manage this, right? Because he'd given this promise to Bhumi, and the Balma, right? Means son of the earth, and that he wouldn't, that he wouldn't kill him, unless she gave permission. Of course, being directly the mother, it's going to be a hard one. So Satyabhama is from Satyabhama Bhumi expands. So Satyabhama is the source of Bhumi, and her allegiances are closer to Krishna, right? And so that's Vishwanath Thakur says, when the battle starts, and this is pretty powerful. So there's unmanned weapons and all these other kinds of military technology here for defense. So it's going to be quite an amazing battle, which you're going to find out in the rest of the chapter. And but so she's naturally going to be concerned about Krishna. Maybe he can be killed, right? And so she'll want the battle to be over. And so yes, kill him. So he's dealing with all of these different important things that and all these different kind of moving parts. And he's going to have this little solve the equation and do this one thing, help the Devas, satisfy Satyabhama, and at the same time, not be able to deal with the promise to Bhumi all in one. And the main thing of all, he's going to have some fun. It's going to be interesting. So So yeah, so Krishna's, everybody else is playing checkers, Krishna is playing chess. He's able to do all these things. And this isn't particularly surprising for Krishna, right? That that he's you know, just as the super soul, he's processing so much information, right? He's in every being's heart and dealing with everything. He's easily, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that with just a part of my splendor, Mahavishnu, all the different material universes are coming out. So Krishna's power or his intelligence are not a bit surprising to us. What's really surprising is the other side, right? His sweetness. So it says that Krishna has kind of these two settings that are that one will be more prominent to the observer. Either his power and majesty is Aishvarya, or his madhurya, his sweetness. And for us, the sweetness part is really, really important. Because when you see this particular pastime, I said for Krishna to solve this equation, to do all these different things at once, isn't even a challenge for him. He is omniscient, he's past, present, and future. He's got all, I mean, he's omnipotent. Krishna can change the whole world. If he wanted to make a whole different reality, he could do that immediately. Everything that exists is resting on his power of existence. There's nothing is surprising for Krishna as a powerful or knowledgeable being. Nothing. This is child's play for him. So what's amazing about Krishna, more than that, is what's he about? Okay, because he's not sitting here. He's going to be flying on the back of Garuda and doing these things, but he's not aloof from it. He's just not solving the equation, right? His Leela, he has an internal point to him. There's an internal point to his Leela. Because I'll tell you what, for small beings like us, power and knowledge and control and opulence are attractive. We're kind of small and weak and suffering, right? And so if we could control things are out of control, and the world oftentimes seems kind of hostile to us. And so if we could have more control over things, if we could foresee more things, if we could have more ability to know how to navigate things, life would be better for us. So that sounds pretty attractive. And so to be the one who has all power and all knowledge and all the different opulences, sounds like a real upgrade for our existence. Can't argue with that. But from Krishna's point of view, being omnipotent and omniscient and all these kind of things is boring. What do? You've got eternity, and you've got complete control. You've got complete, everything is yours. Where's the challenge? Where's the life? I mean, it could be entertainment. You create all these different universes and all these different things are going on. But, it's nothing to you. And Krishna, he's not, he is the source of time. So he could have all experiences he wants in just a moment if he wanted. The other thing that Krishna has, and the other thing is you can see, that even great sages, right, when they come into contact with the soul and the super soul, they're completely satisfied. Like it says in the Gita, the soul is prasanatma, right? So they don't have any desire for opulences or powers or anything. You have full satiation and satisfaction, peace and satisfaction. So Krishna has that by nature. So what is the need for universes and everything and control and power and knowledge? What's the use of that? Pieces, as I said, even great sages, they wouldn't want that. They're happy just to exist. Existence is bliss, even contrary to our usual experience, but it really is. So Krishna's Leela, the fact that he exists as he does, is because he has discovered, or he knows, I guess, or knows everything anyway, that there's something beyond peace, and that's love. And for that, you need to have others. And so when Krishna manifests his power very openly, if there's no way any being could begin to comprehend it. And so there's the form of relationship called Shantarasa, where the peaceful one, where people have can experience the level of power and majesty and wonder that is Krishna to a degree that just enthralls them, completely enthralls them. And it's I think this a little bit of a hint of that is in Dante in his Paradiso. It's been a long time, but that's how they described somebody who was in paradise would be. They would just be in the presence of the Lord and just be, their mind would just be blown, and it would just be so amazing. You just he's kind of you're just thunderstruck for eternity. And if if you could really see all of Krishna, there's no way you could begin to process Krishna's all power. So whenever Krishna takes a form, when he becomes a person, part of what it means is that he conceals that power. And even as he becomes more and more a person and more human, he conceals it from himself, except when he needs it. Because in order to have love, you can't be everything, right? Because ultimately Krishna is everything. Nothing is different from Krishna. It's all part of his his powers and energy. So love takes two, at least. You have to have an other. And Krishna doesn't have an other. Not really. And so, but because Krishna is playing chess and the rest of us are playing checkers, he finds a way around that. And that involves hiding the opulence from the view of others and power and majesty so that he becomes relatable and doesn't just blow your mind. And ultimately also allowing himself to get into the moment and forget his supremacy. So when Krishna's Leela is not just for the benefit of us, but it's also for his benefit. It's an adventure for him. It's it's an ability for him to love, his sweetness. Ultimately, in the highest level, in heard in the previous chapters in this 10th canto, right? How Krishna will feel, dependent upon his devotees. Kunti, she says she's amazed that you are, that fear personified is afraid of you, yet you're afraid of Mother Yashoda when she's chasing you with the stick. How can that be? Because Krishna comes into the moment. He leaves aside the knowledge of his power and omniscience and opulence and all these things so he can exchange love. So he can be a child dependent on his mother and afraid of her. He can feel that he needs to satisfy his wife. And he can actually care for us who are such tiny creatures. That's Krishna. So here he's also, there's suspense. He's when he fights, yeah, I mean, Prabhupada says this in the I think it's in the commentary in the Gita. He says that Krishna doesn't have to kill the demons personally, no matter how powerful they are. He can arrange other ways. There's one lecture I heard from him where he said he can kill the demons simply with a strong wind. And even otherwise, he could just turn them off, make them disappear, make them weak. He could give somebody else the power to kill them. He doesn't have to deal with them. He can change their mentality. He can turn them into a mouse. He can do anything he wants. There's no difficulty. Absolutely no difficulty for him. He could change their mentality. He doesn't have to go there, but he likes to fight. There's a Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He mentions that when in the third canto where Jaya and Vijaya, the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, are cursed to become demons. There's a devotional mood behind that. That they're thinking that the Lord likes to fight, but there's no fighting in Vaikuntha, and so there's only the material world. But he says everybody there is too weak. How can they fight with our Lord? But we could fight with him. We're more powerful, of course. That there's a little yoga maya going on there, but they're much more powerful than the people in the material world. But their problem is their mentality is to serve. They can't possibly fight with the Lord, and so they have a devotional desire and a conundrum that it simply isn't possible for them. And so Krishna arranges it so that they can have the demonic mentality. They get cursed, and they have that choice. 7 births as devotees, or 3 as demons. And so they take that, and so Krishna gives them the proper mentality to fight. So Krishna is enjoying it. Krishna enjoys the love. He feels the love. He feels dependent upon his devotees. Prabhupada says how Krishna likes to be ordered by his devotees. In the Gita, Arjuna says, "Hey, drive the chariot out in the middle." He's acting as a servant. Krishna likes that because it's a relationship of love, not of power. That's Krishna's deal. And so for us, if we're interested in a connection with Krishna, that's what's given to us in our tradition, is that we can have a close connection with Krishna, even in this most intimate situation of Vrindavan. But for that, we have to begin more. It's important that we understand Krishna's power and his control, because that allows us to feel some security with him. We can feel shelter. Krishna can be our only shelter, and we can feel comfortable and confident in that. But more important for us is his sweetness. How he considers himself to be one of us. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says his power of prema, which is his core identity, causes him to forget his position as the supreme. And so he can really become a person. Because you can have love, some level of love for inferior beings even. People love their dogs and their cats, or even their fish or their plants. But love becomes more intense when you deal with equals or even superiors. So Krishna can have a loving feeling towards, the small little souls. That's all right. But when he feels that they're his equals, his friends, in Vrindavan are his equals, his parents are his even superiors, and the gopis are his equals, then there's the ability to love with a whole heart. He experienced life as a baby where he needs his mother to feed him. In the Damodar Lila, right? She's nursing him, and she sets him down because she's making some sweet for him, and the milk that she's boiling is boiling over, and he's hungry. Krishna has the opulence. He can, he can make 1,000,000 Mother Yashodas and no problem. But that's no fun. So she leaves him and he's hungry. So then he has a tantrum and causes trouble. He can have real life. Krishna wants to have real life. And love is something that's beyond any kind of opulence. You simply want to give pleasure to the other. So for us, we can't have the love, that the residents of Vrindavan have, or even great devotees have. But we can begin to enter that path of sweetness if we consider the Lord's kindness and mercy. I think this is what's given to us in the second verse of Lord Chaitanya's Shikshastakam, where it shows that Krishna is so kind. He gives us the holy name. And the acharyas say that the reason why it's many names, right? Namakari Bahuda, many names, is that he's concerned about us. We're individuals. Sometimes we like to have a little choice. He doesn't want to just say, here's the name, one name, you take it. No choices, right? Henry Ford was famous back in the day that you could have his Model T Ford in any color you wanted, as long as it was black, because that was the only color they made. So Krishna could, it would be kind enough to say, here's the holy name that does everything. This is the only one. But he says, he's considerate. He says, okay, I'll give you choices. All of them have my powers invested in them. Nijasarva Shaktis. And then he just gives it freely. It doesn't, you can chant it anywhere. Anybody can do it anytime, any place. No problem. So he says, Tava Kripa Bhagavan. You're so merciful. But somehow I'm not that interested. Somehow I'm not that interested. So there's a lack of gratitude, a hard-heartedness that somehow, well, I must be special. That's why I got the holy name. Krishna must see something in me. Not everybody has it. Or that's normal. Yeah. God gives his name. And so for us, I think we have to contemplate, and again and again and again, the level of kindness that allows a being of such power and magnitude to approach us. And in the form of Lord Chaitanya, he approaches us. Krishna, he says, he appears also, he says, here, I'm available. Anybody is interested, I'm available. My door is open. You can come and have a connection with me. And hardly anybody comes. And so afterwards, he comes as Lord Chaitanya and chases us down. Hey, come on, take this. What are you doing? Hey, take this. He's proactive. He's chasing after. So what does it take? Because there's countless souls. He's got countless devotees in the spiritual world. Does he need us? Does not. But because he loves us, he has concern for us, even though we're ignoring him. He's actually chasing after us. And so if we can contemplate the magnitude of the gift that he's giving, and the fact that he has such love and concern for us right now for no good reason except for his heart, should really humble us. Not because he's so great, because his love is so profound. And then we can begin, if we have that gratitude and humility, we can begin to have the service that we do for him be motivated by that gratitude. When we're focused primarily on the power, and we have different things we can do, we have all the different angas of bhakti and all the the sadhana and these things like that. We can begin to think that I'm earning something, right? I'm fulfilling the requirements, right? But what is the requirement? What is the price of Krishna's love? It doesn't have one. It's available and open to us simply because of Krishna's kindness, his soft-heartedness. It can never be deserved. The highest level, Radharani doesn't think she deserves Krishna's love, although he thinks that she's worth everything. It never happens that way. So somehow or other, we have to give up either the two things. There's the two sides of the ego, either that we're not worthy and therefore have to become so, or that we can we can become something. We can become holy enough to deserve Krishna. Both of those things are incredible fallacies. It's priceless. And the only thing that's holding us back is just our ability to open our hearts to Krishna. That's it. Yeah, exactly. So those things are that there's a motivation. It has to be expressed. If we really have gratitude or love for somebody, it needs to be expressed, right? It has to. And so that's the engine, right? That's the idea. Okay. Anyway, I'm reaching the limits. I'm supposed to leave 10 or 15 minutes, and so there's like 12. So I'm going to stop here, so I don't go too far. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Giri Govardhan Prabhu. Wonderful. That was like an ultimate ontology class about Krishna. It's just many wonderful points. Thank you for breaking it up so nicely for us. Okay, dear devotees, time to exchange love with Giri Govardhan Prabhu. Please unmute yourself, make yourself visible, and say something in line with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Hare Krishna.
We actually have various questions in the chat, and there's a question from Krishna Gaudik that he had asked yesterday that he didn't get answered. So we were wondering if he could go first with that.
Sure.
So his question, he was asking about, it's a long quote. He says, my Yudhisthira pays his obeisance to Shri Maitreya Maharshi and says thus, Priyavriti and Uttanapada, the sons of Swamabhuva Manu, ruled Prithvi, and Prithvi means the earth, consisting of 7 islands by Dharma. He says this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam 3.21.2. So he's asking, what does this mean? What are the 7 islands on Prithvi? Prithvi again meaning the earth. Thank you.
I think it means the different varshas, right? That there's a description, of the there's in the middle of the earth is the Mount Meru, and then there's these concentric circular. There's oceans and consecutive circular like donuts of land. So I think there's the different varshas. The description of the universe in the Bhagavatam is different from what we can experience because it's a higher dimensional thing in my understanding, and so we can't quite map our perceptions directly on that description. But if we have a higher level of consciousness, we'll see things in a different way. We'll have this Mount Meru that's immense. So I think that's the varshas. I think is what they're talking about. We're in Bharat Varsha and there's other varshas. So that's the best I can do with that. Okay. I see Gail has her hand up.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, I don't know if I had understood you properly, but when we were talking about how relishable having relationships that are either equal to or superior to Krishna, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Mother Yashoda.
She feels she has to take care of and protect him.
Yeah. So when we were at that part of your talk, it seemed like you were suggesting that, and we often hear this, I think that is like a more relishable kind of relationship than, let's say, if Krishna is in the superior position, like he would be in Dwarka with his small children, let's say,
Yeah. So it's more relishable for Krishna, right? Because as a child you feel dependent upon your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's of course it's a beautiful thing for Mother Yashoda because she feels she has to protect him, and he's always in such dangerous situations. So it makes her love increase, but also Krishna's. Right? There's a special feeling that a child gets when they feel helpless and they're protected by their mothers. Right? Like when people are wounded on the battlefield, they call out for their mothers. They're adults, their mother can't do anything for them, but it's such a deep impression that comes from childhood that as of course, presuming you had a good mother, but sometimes that's not always a given, but but that happens, that somehow their mother, can save them, from a situation which obviously they can't. But their mother was everything to them. So that feeling of being taken care of when you're helpless is so Krishna can experience that. So his love can grow. See?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think this is kind of addressing my question because, in my position right now, right, I can't relate to aspiring for a relationship with Krishna where I am either his equal or his superior. I feel like I'm like Krishna right now, where I want to be that child that experiences that protection of his parent.
Yeah.
And
Mhm. Yeah, that's we can't aspire. I mean, we can't really aspire for those situations now. It can be way in the back of our head. But so right now, we have to begin to appreciate Krishna's sweetness. So for that, I really think contemplating his love, his unconditional love for us, excuse me, and his compassion and mercy are the gateways where we can begin to appreciate Krishna's sweetness. And so that's way down the line, having a very intimate relationship with him. That we can't process that right now. Our heart is too hard. That's the problem, is our heart is hard. But so we start with that. But we can understand theoretically that leads to something really extraordinary. But right now, that's not. We can hear about that, right? And it can kind of go into the back of our mind someplace, but we can't live that now because our heart is not in the state to do it. So we begin by understanding his love and compassion and mercy. And it's helpful for us to know about his power and majesty because it makes us feel safe. And that's important to us. It allows us to take shelter. So we can't just move from here. That's like moving from 0 to 10,000 miles an hour. We can't do that, but we need to start on that path. And that starts with the heart. We have to soften the heart, and that starts with that gratitude. Otherwise, we have the achievement mentality. It begins to creep in, and we want to earn it, it's not possible. Krishna's love is not earnable, or we feel that we're not worthy of it and have to become worthy, and those things are problems.
Well, I'm very glad that you said this because, I do hear that, to approach Krishna as, in that father-child type of relationship, it's like we're supposed to want to, that parent-child relationship is one where you're looking more to get from Krishna, and that's like decried, but a child does have needs to be fulfilled, so I have a problem with that, with that being decried, to want to experience oneself as a child in that kind of parent-child relationship, huh?
Yeah, there's no problem with that. We have to begin from where we are.
Yeah.
And so we can't pretend to be something that we're not. We can pretend, but it doesn't help us in any way.
Right.
But I'm just saying that sweetness, if we begin to understand Krishna's sweetness, how kind he is to appear before us, how kind he is to come after us and give us the holy name, then this can develop into something truly extraordinary. But we're not ready for that yet. We have to take the first step.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Professor. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I said there's more. I see Jeffrey.
Very well, Prabhu. Thank you for this class. I had a question when you were talking about Krishna enjoys to fight.
Yeah.
And so my initial reaction was, wow, first of all. I don't enjoy to fight. So it's not necessarily a thing that I identify with, but just more thinking about Krishna's behaviors and his actions. And so I was thinking, okay, so is Krishna fighting demons to prove a point? Like, we should defeat these demons. But Krishna doesn't need to prove a point, and he wouldn't have ulterior motives. And in any case, he wouldn't force his viewpoint or his doctrine upon anyone, right? Because he gives us the intelligence or the remembrance or the forgetfulness to be with him. So I'm just trying to like figure out the only way that makes sense is exactly what you said. That Krishna enjoys it. There's no other reason for him to do it.
Yeah,
and so it's just a very salient point that Krishna's actions are unmotivated because he is the cause.
yeah, and he's it's the people watching when he's fighting the demons. The devas are all on edge, and he's on edge. He has fun. I mean, the Kshatriyas, if you look at how the Kshatriya nature works, like there's that one passage also in the 10th canto when Krishna and Balaram destroy Jarasanda's whole army by themselves, right? And they have this. It's to me, it's a Kshatriya poetry where it says that the blood was flowing like rivers, and the decapitated heads were like floating on the blood like turtles, and the severed arms and legs were like water snakes. So it sounds like this ghastly and horrible to most of us, but to the Kshatriyas, it's like, this is great. When they get wounded, that's when the battle starts. If they don't get wounded, it's not even any fun. So there's no PTSD with these guys. They're really hardcore. And like we have, we're kind of freaked out Shudras with guns is what Mark says here in this age, So, but they love that stuff, because you can be heroic. It's that heroic mood, and you put yourself in danger, and so it's beautiful for them. I mean, I don't relate to that myself either. But
thank you for drawing that out, Prabhu. I appreciate it.
Dear Govardhan Prabhu, so sometimes as immature devotees, we drift into the mentality of thinking that Krishna has it both ways. He has full control and he has the most fun. And but we're here, it's so real for us. It's real pain, and we do lose things. I mean, it seems real. So how do we get out of that mentality of criticizing Krishna for having it both ways?
Well, I guess what we have to realize is that I really think the pain and suffering we go through has another side to it, and so ours can end, and it also, I think, can the wounds that we suffer. To me, I really think that they can be turned in to the intensity that comes in bhakti. Like generally, that's why, like the bhaktas, it says we're not too attached or too averse to this world, and whereas people who are averse to the pain and suffering, right, that they tend to want to just be transcendent, and then they go into the Brahma Jyoti and things. But there's a vividness and intensity in the Leela. And so somehow, at least in the back of our minds, we have to understand this can be transmuted into something really powerful. We can have real depth in things. There's this beautiful quote from I can't find it in time, but that talks about how our wounds can become great assets. So we might think that Krishna has it made a little bit too much, but he's actually going to make us a world that's the most beautiful. He wants to. We're invited to his connection, to his world. We can be part of his world. So it's okay if we feel a little bit angry with Krishna. That's a relationship too, but I think we can get over it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wounds make it.
Ganga Bhagavati Kamaniya Shikha
Yeah. Jai. Jai Giri Govardhan Prabhu. Thank you. Any final instructions for us?
Oh, just carry on, you know. I mean, we are the most fortunate beings, right? That somebody as wonderful as Krishna cares about us deeply enough to come and chase after us. And it's not because we deserve it or we're wonderful, it's because Krishna's heart. He sees us in ways he sees our value greater than it really can be. And that's unbroken. It's unbreakable. And so therefore our good fortune is already there. We just haven't realized it. We have to open our hearts to it. That's all.
Yeah, I was thinking when you were discussing that, I was thinking, yeah, if I were Krishna, if I were God, I would recreate Jeffrey Eckler. I would recreate Adi. I would create all of the devotees that are in my life for sure to have fun together.
Yeah.
Krishna and I think alike, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But we have to, love has to be a free choice. And so if Krishna were to just to sprinkle pixie dust over us and remove all of our anarthas and things like that, where would our devotion be? It would be right where it is now. So we have to be able to work through our resistance. We have to be able to work through the obstacles. Because love has to be, it's more profound than that, right? Than just have it be easy. We have a tendency to want peace and satisfaction now because that is an upgrade from our present situation. But there's something much beyond that. That's why Krishna exists in the way he does. There's something beyond peace, and that's real love, and that's intense. That's something powerful and deep. And that's why even the difficulties we go through here can come out the other side as make us more profound and deep and powerful individuals.
Yeah. Poppy?
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for this wonderful class. I was just smiling the entire time. And I just love how you simplify this whole concept that it all begins with hurt. And yeah, and I just had a quick question. If you can briefly elaborate on that there's something beyond peace. I'm not sure what do you mean by that. If you can kindly explain.
Yeah, that's what you see. That's love. You see, and love in this case, now love is kind of a complicated, word here in this dimension, because a lot of times love will mean desire. Right? We confuse love and desire in this domain. But what love really is this powerful desire. You feel the other being, the other person is so valuable and so extraordinary that simply their existence makes your life more than complete. And they don't have to be under your control. They don't have to be connected with you. Just their existence is enough. And it causes you then to want to do things for them because you feel this deep indebtedness. That's what's happening in the spiritual world. And so it brings you out of yourself. So it's more than peace. It's a kind of joy that blows your mind. And that's what's happening with Krishna. Krishna's mind is being blown by the love of his devotees. And he simply wants them to be happy, and they want him to be happy. And so it's developing, it's growing all the time. So, peace sounds good to us because we don't have it, but what do you do? Like, say, if you're really, really tired, right? You just want to sleep. Oh man, and it feels like the best. But then how long can you do it? Eventually you want to come and do something. And so Krishna he discovered this thing and that's why you need others. That's why he needs others. That's why he needs to be able to feel like a being. So this love can come out. It's his own special invention. And we're invited.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to glorify Krishna just briefly but sincerely and with burning tears? Anyone? Adi?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this class. It's really interesting to see two sides of it. Just like Mother Jasoda, she's seeing Krishna as her child, and then she opens his mouth and sees the whole universe. Whoa. And then she shakes that off, right? And she goes back into being Krishna's mother. And I remember one time I was in a movie theater, and a big movie buff. I used to practically get hypnotized by the movies, just really pour my consciousness into whatever was going on in the movie. And then there was a workman, and they have these doors that the emergency exit doors for the movie. You know what that is? Big doors. And so in the middle of this movie, I was so absorbed in it, and somebody opened up the side door and let in the daylight, and completely crushed the whole immersion in the movie. So these classes where we talk about, Krishna's there, and there's a drama going on, and we're absorbed in the intensity of the conflict. But then Krishna's, he's God, he's not really in danger. It's so painful. I can't go back and forth between Yoga Maya and Maha Maya. I mean, it's just too much for me. I'm hoping someday to be completely absorbed in devotional service to Krishna, where I don't think about Krishna as God. That feels very attractive to me, to be completely buried in Yoga Maya, so that we can have these different kinds of exchanges with angry at Krishna, or amused by what Krishna is doing, or worried that Krishna might get defeated by the demon he's fighting with, and not get into this, he's God. Prabhupada's pulling us away from that there's another way of looking at the Lord besides this. I'm seeing it as the all-controlling, omniscient Father. And it's like you said, it's much more interesting. So right. Yeah. I hope you can say something about how painful it is to go back, like the door opening in the theater, it just destroyed my immersion in the movie by opening up to the daylight, and
yeah, exactly.
I can't deal with it. I just can't. I'm just too simple-minded. I'm sorry to talk so long. Oh, Giri Prabhupada, you want to say something?
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in that Leela where he saw, where Mother Yashoda saw the universe in his mouth, is that he was about to really be busted. When she was going to check his mouth, there was dirt inside, and he was going to be busted. And so it said his Yoga Maya manifested that to throw her off for a moment, so he wouldn't get in trouble.
Okay.
Anyway,
Anyway,
he was feeling the fear right there. His mother was going to bust him.
But I thought that we were saying that we kind of do in the beginning need to see Krishna as God, isn't it?
Yeah, we can still have the aspiration. So what we have to do is we have to get into the to open the heart and begin to appreciate Krishna's sweetness, and eventually we can come to that situation that'll happen to us. But yeah, right now it's kind of important that we know that we can be protected in things. It helps to nourish our faith, but eventually the love grows. So now we don't have so much love, but we can start with some real gratitude and some feeling that we're obliged to Krishna. And then that'll happen. It's a natural process. It'll happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can't artificially make it happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jai, thank you so much, Giri Govardhan Prabhu. Thanks everyone present in this class. Thanks everyone for making yourselves available to Krishna. He needs us, not because he's deficient. He needs us because he loves us, like Giri Govardhan said. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. We love you too, and thank you for tolerating us. Wishing you a wonderful day, Giri Govardhan Prabhu. We look forward to your next class. Are you going to keep the backdrop like that?
Probably.
Okay, good. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Love you all. Hare